The only tendency on reason no, we cannot give power to other people that they will then make choices that will create jobs in other countries. We have serious corruption, but I think in our sector we have weaponized the word corruption.
Okay, how is that?
It's easy to accuse anyone of corruption and not prove it and get away with it.
It's easy for one to say, bring all this, let's localize it, but yet our skill level is not up to scratch because we didn't keep up with the times, or we neglected it as a space.
Business says that we don't have the skills. And instead of saying that business is just complaining, we need to engage them to say, what exactly do you mean the skills? Mm-hmm. Business plans on its own, academia plans on their own. Most of them have never even run their own businesses, So, and labor. So we need to start planning jointly instead of separately. These boards have become old age homes. That thing must come to an end. We must hold each and every one of us accountable. Let me get that nonsense. You call me to order for Ghana.
What matters so much for you about the rail industry?
It's potential to change the economy. How much it can quickly turn around things.
King David Studio Podcast.
I hope you're well, man.
I am Rapela, and we live, we win.
Yes.
Yeah, for a better tomorrow.
We're having a conversation with the CEO of African Rail Industry Association. At some point, this association was specifically saying South Africa. And for some reason, there's been a change. And I don't know why that change, what is the impact of that change. There's surely a reason for it. I hope the reason will make sense to all of us.
It will, and not maybe make sense, but to remind us who we are.
Okay.
We are Africans first, and when I look to the journey of what I do and what we're trying to achieve, it's on the continent, and I grew up in an environment that only knew me, Kimupedi, Tema, and when I got exposed to this industry, you travel a bit and you start feeling at home, and we would go to places like Ethiopia and meet a gentleman that is working for the railways there, and his name is Mandela. Mm-hmm. And then you realize that us as Africans, we don't talk to each other, we don't do things together, and it's in the recognition that we are one. And if we want to progress as people, we must start identifying ourselves as Africans and as one, not north, not east, not south, but as one.
What was it before?
Well, we had it was the Railroad Association, and at the time when the founders at the time, they wanted to have two modes, speaking in one voice and in terms of planning, and then over time when I came in, rail and road, it was almost as if it's not saying the same thing, but within the railway sector, we knew that this is a railroad. I mean, the track is a railroad.
True.
And it was important that we don't keep it as a niche, but we bring Africans with us on this journey. And if you look at the African Union, you say we'll have a railway infrastructure that crisscrosses the continent. It's not about South Africa, but it's about
What matters so much for you about the rail industry?
Its potential to change the economy. How much it can quickly turn around things on a grand scale. It's that change. And there is also the sound of it. When there's steel on steel, there's something beautiful about that. That sound.
Yes, when it's coming.
People that have worked in the workshops, because coming from Niger, there's a certain smell of that oil that comes with that. There's a certain magic that comes with being in an engineering space, because it's not really 1 + 1 is 2, right? It says, okay, it doesn't work, but when we can try this one. So there's some excitement that comes with being in an environment that demands innovation out of you.
Oh.
It's a political will. They decide what will happen, so they are implementing that. Other countries that have gone, is it Korea, one of where they manufacture Kia, they made that strategic decision as a country that this is what we're going to do. China is the same. There is no self-respecting country that does not manufacture. Actually, manufacturing is sovereignty. If you cannot manufacture for yourself, you'll have to be dictated to by other powers that can manufacture and dictate what technologies you're going to use. So if you want to be free as a country to dictate where you go as a people, you need to determine that by manufacturing your own things that work for you, not necessarily that they get transplanted into your system.
If we were to use a basic analogy of a family that doesn't plant its own food, can you use that same concept in relation to manufacturing as a sovereignty?
Absolutely. Let's say Arijual, re namela taxi, re a tropo, ro reka dijo, re bue. Motlang re sena selo, tshwantse re tsamaye gape ro lata dijo, nkane re na le mabu ka mo gae, re ka jwala. There's land, there are people that have done these things before.
Yes.
They've got hope. So it's a small decision that we need to make as a country. Or what do we want for our people? What do we want for our children? Because if we fail to build that future today, tomorrow there will be nothing. And then Banabarona will have to go to other countries to look for other opportunities. So localizing and manufacturing locally, it's feeding this nation. Namama, Matlodi Sintelel. Mama worked for telephone manufacturers of South Africa.
Yes.
In Springs. And if the country then did not manufacture, Mama nkaba sa khona go rumela ko sekolong.
Yes.
Mama nkaba sa khona go reka ntlo. Mama nkaba sa khona to make certain decisions ka bophelo ba gagwe that concern us as bana ba gagwe. So we are not just simply saying we should localize. Localization is empowering people. It is self-determination. It's saying that dignity. And I would even argue to say that it is contained, it is localization, it gets its life in the Section 2 of the Constitution because it brings about dignity. And I tell it from my mother perspective. But there is a black man that mostly dominates our industry. And this is very personal to me because it is this black men that when they are no longer employed, they get zero respect in their society, in their homes. I call Malum Jabulan. Malum Jabulan manga sasebenzi because asa manufacturer like he has no place in our black society. In fact, Malum Jabulan's partner will even say, "Amajita ya panda when wenzani."
Yeah.
You know, And when we start thinking differently and saying that over and above being this country, there are people that actually ukusebenza validates who they are and maintains their position in society. Ukusebenza, it binds families together. You really would have broken families. So this is beyond just manufacturing, but is about those that we vote for, that we then empower to make policy choices, and those policy choices to say we're going to invest, we're going to do this in the railways, and but those choices, they must benefit us.
Yes.
We cannot give power to other people that they will then make choices that will create jobs in other countries. So localization is it's what this country needs now.
Let's. I'm conflicted, and bear with me. I want to go to Mema Hlodi, but I think she deserves enough respect for me to give her the time that she wants.
Yeah.
And also, I want to go to your industry. Let me go to your industry. What does you're a CEO of the African Rail Industry Association.
Rail Industry.
What does it mean? What is this unit all about? And who does it report to? You know, there's only someone who's slightly higher, even if we can't count God. So where does it fit in the mix?
So we are an industry body. It belongs to members.
Okay.
It's a voluntary organization, and our role is to grow the local economy.
Okay. In the rail industry.
In the rail industry, to grow the export base, because we need to grow from somewhere, which is home, so that we can then respond to the export market. And then be responding to the export market, the export council ke berekisana le DTIC. So tanka Ntate David locally.
Yes.
Ntate David, we make sure locally we have access to the opportunities. We supply mabili,
steel.
We supply what? So even if not, as a business, we're not a broadcaster, there is space for you in the railway sector, because there are stories that need to be told. So the entire value chain has different people that we work with. So I work with the DTIC, and from the policy side, we work with the DOT. And a step lower is we work with Transnet and BRASA. The hardworking men and women of Transnet and BRASA, those are people that we work with. And then there is then a layer of people that came from Transnet and BRASA that then went into business, mostly black-owned businesses that got tired of UIF and said like, no, we want to go into business. And those are the people that then become our members. But we have Transnet sitting on our board. So I report to the board. And the organization itself has stakeholders, including DTI, DOT. We work with all other departments when it's necessary, or what we do actually touches on what that particular department does, even through to influencing a policy. But in Data David, what we try to do, because those are big in the air, where we make the difference is as follows. Is when MESELA Pty Ltd is able to get empowered through a policy, then do work with Transnet.
Yes.
Then when MESELA does work with Transnet, MESELA is employing other people in the organization. Then other people in the organization, we start hosting interns. And I'm proud to say that in our organization, we have hosted interns for the past maybe more than 5 years. And Mudimo Aratile, we have had 70% success rate.
Wow.
Yeah, but now where we could pay them because they manufacture. Over and above that, we assist Banabao to place them at our member companies. one of those companies, when one of those interns, he came in as a what's a miracle? And he spent 12 months with him, and his job was one, to start his own business.
Okay. Wow.
Today he has a thriving business. And that what, for now, that what our mere existence, if we can't make changes in people's life like that, why do we exist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not just, let's say, let's localize, let's manufacture the trainee. I mean, Nigel used to be a boom in the industry. It is sad when you go to those towns, the only activity, liquor stores. We need to change the face of our towns, and to change the face of our towns, we need to give people hope, and that hope comes to them being able to afford a bona.
Yes.
We must not say that we are not going to give this state-owned entity chelete, but we'll rather spend money refer to the 350.
Well, I don't want to go there, but it solves quick wins. I get it's easy for us to pick the low-hanging fruit.
Yes, it's easy. We can start there, but let's grow something.
Okay, yes.
South Africans are not known to dira dilo fela, right? And I think that we need to demand better from ourselves. Nna re ke tsoga frogo ke ya miracle ke ikemišetšana, not somebody else. Ke tloga mo ke yang ke ikemišetšana. So that's why for now the work that I do is quite personal. At times it's because it feels it's emotionally heavy. I feel pain amuthobo sa berekeng. And many people don't understand why I do what I do. But I think there's a greater calling that I am called to do this. And if I manage to change maphelo a bana ba batho, then ekitletšeng mo ya bereka. If David we ka kgona ke tlhakane le ngwana, 2 years later, ngwana o agetse mmagentlo ya ditena. That's what we want. So, yes, localization. But localization, I say we need to do this because our kids can dream.
It's not conceptual for you.
No, we can do it, guys. I do it on a daily. We can do it. It's just a matter of we also read hard. You know, kana konga barai loja local diatura. Not really. Adituri, if we were to compare like to like, right? But right? And I want to naganelang. It will be easy to say, the leaders so all of us in our lives are leaders.
That's true.
And as a matter of fact, I always cringe Mutari CEO. I don't like titles. Niccolo Machiavelli says titles do not honor men, men honor titles. Because the titles really and forget who we are and why we are here.
CEO. Yes.
So now I want to MESELA ke khadi ya bakopa. Ke tao ya sekgwa sa metsi. If I can just be that. Yeah. And change people's lives and give batho ba bangwe hope, that for now it's enough.
Let's describe for a minute our rail industry, and if you're able to go as far back in history as you can, because we are a country of manufacturers historically. I grew up in Mamelodi. Around my township, I know of motor manufacturing plants. And we know of people, almost anyone and everyone who grows and who grew up in Mamelodi knows someone that manufactures a car at some point in their lives. So to see these industries no longer supporting our communities tends to be quite depressing, and you wonder why. So give us as far back a history as you can of the South African rail industry as in terms of production and manufacturing.
I'll give you a better one. I'll give you a personal story, which will actually answer some of the people that always ask, how did you end up here?
Mm-hmm.
So my father used to work for Spornet and met Mama on the railways.
Wow.
So if it was not for the railways, I wouldn't be here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's credit to the railway.
Okay, so there's a gentleman called Hendrik van der Bijl. He was an industrial engineer. Back in the days, he was given a mandate by the government. I mean, the ISCOs, the ESCOM and the Spornet came from that era. And it was a visionary somebody that went on to build something, and they understood that we are going to manufacture the cheapest electricity for white peoples. Mm-hmm. We're going to lower the cost of logistics for white people. So those industries were largely subsidized and were not seen as inputs to be profitable. So your SOEs were never seen, but were seen as they would empower other industries to compete. So that has been what was different then and now. So this country was built. You have a Van der Bijl Park because somebody aimed to work and build ISCO have a ISCO that was later on sold to become Metal. So we need to go back to building the country, to manufacture. You name your ISCO, you name your ESCOM, Spornet. They're all related, and they don't only feed people, but they empower the community in terms of education and the whole culture about it. Now I had a teacher Nkosi, teacher business economics, he came from Wattville. So you use training, sold staff, go training. And so manufacturing and railways, it was not just us manufacturing, there was a whole culture. There's a whole community that came from railways. And so we have lost that. But it came from us, from manufacturing that was started somewhere. And we need to find ways to recover and do that again. And it will only be done when we support the policies of government, but be that voice as well. And that voice comes from at the time when a decision was made for manufacture. Everybody knew that we're going that way. And that's what we need now.
When we look at now in relation to the past, what do we still manufacture locally, and what else did we used to manufacture and we don't anymore? So
Sporo sona ka boso.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We used to manufacture locally.
It's ISCO.
And ISCO, and then we had another company somewhere in Mpumalanga. And a few years ago, there was another one that was reopened, and I don't think it has manufactured much then. So Sporo, and then the wheels themselves.
That sit on that same Sporo.
On the same Sporo. Those stones that you see on that Sporo, it's not just matlapa fela. Specialized, the concrete sleepers, the engineers that work on there, those that do maintenance, those that manufacture the coaches, the seats that goes in there, the windows. It's a full house. So if Alstom gets an order from us to manufacture the locomotive, say 50, then you guarantee 400 men their jobs for the next 3-4 years.
Wow. And guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
So you can change an entire township.
You can change the entire township. You can change a number of our social ills will actually be resolved by making small certain decisions. And we need to go back there.
What don't we manufacture anymore?
It's what is different then and now. So then the government made a decision that this is what we're going to do. And the government guaranteed that there was work that was going to be done. So And what we don't have now is that guarantee. So we go and tender because the Public Finance Management Act says so. Public Finance Management has given birth to tenderpreneurs because there's no industrialist that will ever come out of a 3-year contract. So it's an investment that needs to be made to say, as a country, we're going this way, we are reindustrializing. You cannot reindustrialize and have black industrialists under PFMA. So an industrialist, for a country to reindustrialize is an investment, a long-term investment that a country needs to make. And public sector's business and private sector business are different.
Yes.
And government is long-term. Business, we are in for the money.
And trains are long-term.
Long-term.
They can be private sector business.
It can be. Private sector will participate.
Of course.
But it is a strategic asset of the country. And so we need to find ourselves going back there and realizing that running our own railways, what exactly does it mean? It does not mean that I'm going to be a train driver, but I can stay in the Northern Cape. There used to be a great town where trains used to come to be serviced there. I can stay in my own place. The trains come there. I be the engineer. All these TVET colleges they produce, no one has to go leave their homes. So, and that's what we need to go back to. We get great support from the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition because they want me to sell. Because they say, MESELA, you need to go and sell.
Yes.
But often there is not a misalignment, but rather we don't have, as a country, a systems thinking approach. That when I move this thing here, I need to know how it's going to affect here, right? If I give MESELA a 3-year contract to build a railway coaches or a locomotive or a wagon, how is it going to affect long term? And how do we sustain that? So we need to go back into having policies that have systems thinking in mind and long-term effect. And South Africa as a republic is not a profit-making business, but is a sustainability type of business. Because if we just look at profit and loss, we are not going to survive much longer.
You make a very strong point about how the management of the funding of this is the PFMA, and you it's a point that I look at and others will look at and say, but in this way you are able to manage things. Yes, entrepreneurs / corruption / I know you know somebody, and then that's how it works. What is the alternative then?
Maybe the question is, why do we have it?
Okay.
I think when it was had at the time was to manage finances. But what we've seen is that it has become a compliance issue. So if government gets, say a department gets, let's say they get 1 billion rand, we don't know now that out of that 1 billion rand, how much actually goes to a mandate as compared to complying, making sure that everyone complies with PFMA. And as a matter of fact, most CEOs, government CEOs and CFOs, their KPI is a clean audit, not the mandate.
Okay. They answer more to did they do things correctly, but more than did they deliver the right product for society.
And remember that the reason for my existence as BRASA is to transport people. So PFMA says we don't care whether you've transported people or not, but you must keep to the books. But why do I exist? And it's a great tool to manage finances. And I think that as a country, we need to really look at it to say that can we recalibrate it? Can we make sure that it is not the only thing that matters, but maybe identify that the lack of service delivery maybe comes from, because I've done my research, it's difficult to find one single entity that has a clean audit, but also has delivered services.
Okay. So you're saying as good as clean audits may be, they come at a cost.
They come at a cost. They come at a cost. David, anyone that does business with the state, they know that tenders are so rate, right? And it has to be in the market for so many months, days, and everything else. Eventually, a decision will be made.
True.
When is the SMME eventually? Where are you?
If you didn't get that one.
Where are you?
Yeah.
The PFMA, yes, it's a great tool, but we need to interrogate it that do we want it in this format or do you want it differently? Most SMMEs, they perish because of this system. And I don't think that it serves us well. Some people say that, well, what about corruption? And I thought that, well, PFMA is not doing a great job.
Yes.
You know, maybe it's doing a great job for auditors because they always come back and find something. But
so they're the beneficiaries of the PFMA.
But you know, it breaks my heart David, when you get a policy like PFMA, it almost as if it assumes all government employees are thieves. You know, and it's not true. In some instances, because something our advertiser for 5 days, we advertise for 3 days because there's an emergency. That is an irregular expenditure.
It is, because we will then come back and say you knew who you wanted and then you were, that's why it was a quick in and out. Why did you leave it till late if you knew Christmas always comes the same time every year? Why did you advertise for the Christmas carols to be done only at 24? You see how that can be an audit finding.
Yes, it could be an audit finding. But think of it this way. You are lying there. It's 5-2 Chaile. You are in an accident. There's no ambulance because we had to wait for PFMA. So if we use it, I think we need to differentiate where we use it, how we use it, and for what purpose.
And now it's used across the board.
Yeah, and yes, and we also need to quantify it. We need to say that for me to comply with PFMA, how much does it really cost me, right? Let's say TFR now needs to compete. TFR can't compete under PFMA.
Yeah.
They need to be released from that thing. Because now when I will go into business and say, no, we are running, we're going to compete with TFR. TFR has to go on tender. Rona said, hey, Mzal, no, deliver. Okay, no. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So you can't have an agile business using the PFMA. And if the new way of how some of the state-owned entities are supposed to function, we need to start thinking about what are the unintended consequences of us doing this. We need to be spending more money on the mandate than looking after the money.
Let's put it to practice. The current government, President wakes up tomorrow, has seen this podcast, and he says, maybe we are half right, because PFMA is not fundamentally wrong. It's, as you put it, it's half right. So the story is not complete. Let's look at the mandate. What in practice would be ideal? Do we need another body, similar to Auditor General, for example, whose job is to look at quality of delivery, mandate, and all? Or do we have it already in the system, something that can ensure that mandate is achieved?
We must send people to jail.
That's the first thing we do.
That's the first thing. You know what? We want to put more regulation, guys, let's discipline people. You know, instead of putting more regulation, red tape on top of red tape, because we're trying to
sugarcoat.
Let's get people and send them to jail. We must. If President was listening to this, I would say that because he's a numbers person, he's in business, let's cost how much PFMA cost. Just the audit function internally, even before the Auditor General comes in, because that fat, we could use that fat to do other things, to make sure that we actually reduce the cost of running the business of the state. Some people say that 40% of money that is spent in government goes towards the fat of auditing administrative stuff.
And probably legal stuff as well.
Your administrative stuff. We should not be spending money there. We need to make decisions. President MESELA, we are reindustrializing. President TVET, we are not doing administrative jobs anymore. There is no way that as a country, David, that we are going to manufacture, re-industrialize. Mara 80%, 80% of the graduates from TVET, give admin. Come on.
We're not industrializing.
We're not industrializing, and that needs to change. Now, if I was president tomorrow, any student that is in engineering, they will go and study for free. Those are the decisions that we need to make, and those are decisions that we don't do PFMA. And I'll even go further to call the universities to say, universities, we're spending money, a significant amount of money, of South Africans' money, but you're not giving us the right skills that we want. They said, no, we're producing. Business here is saying that there are no skills. What are you producing?
Yeah.
And we need to turn that again to say, what is it that we want to get out of university? I want somebody who has technical skills at the same time, cognitive skills and soft skills. So the curricula must be redesigned to give me that. So that, David, when I came at the localization mode, there's a good grounding. When I have to go somewhere, evaluate a business, it's exciting because I know they've got this.
Yeah.
So I can have this, but guys.
With all the brains that we have, how is it possible that we miss those basic approach to industrializing our country? You spoke about something important when you started. You said political will. How is it that we're missing something that will inherently benefit our people? Because clearly it sounds like we are missing it.
But Guneng.
Yes, you're saying Guneng. I'm asking why we're missing this.
We need to get the right people, and kana going with the right people. It sounds a little bit dirty, but the right people in terms of pelo.
Okay. But when you say right people, you're talking leaders, people who decide where we go.
It's us that decide where we go.
The people.
We are our own leaders. You have to lead yourself in order to take yourself to go and choose somebody else to be your leader.
Got you.
Okay.
You have to, let's repeat that. If it was in a church, we would say amen. You have to choose yourself before you choose somebody to lead you. Because if you choose yourself, you recognize your value, you recognize your role in society, and then you recognize the type of person that you want to lead you. Do you realize that in relationships, it's the same concept? How, Joel? You have to choose yourself before you choose somebody to partner with. Hey, I reveal.
So, the right people is those, David, that will tell you the truth. And we don't want to be told the truth because it will talk. So I think as a leader, you need to have that one person. Naki mama. Ngwala SMS ekan. And I can go type a so we need that. We need to drop the titles. Because once you drop the titles,
imagine a guest legally DDG.
We've got nothing to offer.
Actually, DDG.
So what?
I want to.
And then? And?
Well.
Can I be singanga sa that family goes to bed? Can I be singanga that my child that I took to a career expo without even thinking about it? Last week on phone, the wait again, run a business yak. Oh, that's nice. He phoned the other time. I'm thinking of getting married. Oh, that's nice. Because of the small, little, insignificant. I want to be singanga sesujuar. Not singanga because I'm going to break. Singanga sa gore gena. Ngwana Tebogo is going to have a better life because I pushed Tebogo this way. That's the type of life that singanga se ke se batlang. And President, we need to balance what is business and what is people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we can't have too much of each other. And we need to make sure, when you are a leader, you need to make sure everybody is unhappy. That means the people and the business. If one side is happy,
it's happier than the other. What is our current state? Who's happier now?
I don't know who's happier. I can't.
It's surely not the people.
If you look at the unemployment, I don't think it's the people. If you look at the number of graduates that stay at school for extended period, I don't think the people are happy. If we look at gender-based violence, crime on its own, I don't think people are happy. So we need to strike a balance. And that balance should strike by making certain decisions. That Kitloba Florence Matlodi gape na. Matlodi tlo bereka, and so that MESELA does not have to find itself in a situation as Sambuli end up in an abusive relationship. So some of the things could solve as just a small decision. But it's just that we come from different backgrounds. We don't see things the same. And these conversations are those tools that we need to keep on having so that we can at least get an opportunity to say, Matamela, here's how I see things. I may not sit at the table, but as somebody that considers you as my leader of this country, here are my views. And if we can change 1, 2, 3, I think certain problems in society, there will be a significant reduction. And it doesn't matter who the leader is. But the people must not be left behind. Because so the decisions must be different. But the decisions,
yes.
I am married to one of the most intelligent men ever. Where's a mate number. And he has always said that the quality of your life will be determined by the quality of your education. We need to go back there and invest in good quality education. There is a relationship between economic growth and skills development. You look at the countries such as Singapore, there is a correlation. China as well, India as well. The decisions that we have to make today is, I see Metaya PFMA so that somebody can get it. They're much more, but of course, so they are deep and they are naba. So it's also reach those decisions that will live with us for 50, 100 years. And we have to start today.
Some would say those are socialists' approach to things. And some would say countries that you make reference to, they started out with a socialist approach. However, there's nothing wrong whether you call it socialist or whatever you call it. What is your take to those that would draw a line and have a belief for, no, we don't go this way, we go this way, based on whether it's historic belief or whatever it may be? I've
been somewhere that say it's an ideology. Guys, like it's socialism or baby the people. With
whatever name you give it.
But bayaka unyoko but baje. Or we apesha it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Tlala ke tlala. So ke kgetha hore ko ja dikitlo tsa makonya ka dintlhoma kura or kitlo reka nama ka mo ke be le dikgomo wa kwishisha. So tlala ke tlala. It doesn't matter gore Baba bang ba reng ba kala ba iti ba tshwana ba tswele pele, right? But a significant percentage of us are in the middle. And all we want is a good life for ourselves and for our children. Rena re lapile ko kwa batho ba complain ba re bona ba go patela di black tax. Bo se go patela black tax a re bereke. Let the people work. People must be given their dignity back. Men and women of this country must be given their dignity back. but they must claim that dignity first by choosing themselves first.
I want to talk about your mom. How did
Kope.
Yes, how did she pull it off to raise such a daughter? Your story reads as raised by a powerful woman. Clearly, the characteristics from that you probably inherited. Tell us more about her.
Mama ki pause. Rodisitswe ke koko sinki, koko mmela ga mma. Re goletse Shego. And then mma o tlile Gauteng ka lenyalo. Papa a tlhokofala botsa mma gore Flora o ishe bana ba ka sekolong. And that has been the thing in our family. So that is the woman that we tshwere ka bogaleng. Ge ke gola ntse ke nagana gore re a tlhoka. I had a good life. Mma o nkisitse sekolong. Mma o le fisha le sa fish. I don't think Nalisesi we lacked.
But why did you think you lacked?
I think kana gongwe o tsena skolo you see gore bana ba bangwe ba na leng a o ipone. Then later on you realize what I actually had everything. Mama worked the overtime, and she's a story of a black woman that uses what she has, and re kgona go ikemela nna le sesi because a sa ka ra mmona a emela monno mongwe gore a tlo mo rekela seshebo. And that does something to someone's psyche. To always go out there and do your absolute best. And I am fortunate to have been brought up by her. She still shouts at me even today. But she keeps me there. And I want lerato le le fetang lerato la ka mfang lona that I've seen ke sa le monyane up until today. And I am forever grateful. And I wish le basadi ba bang, those that are young, can have the opportunities that she had so that she could make the type of decisions that she made to protect us. To have a choice, guys, it's luxury. That's what my mother had. And in her choosing, she chose us. We grew up in a home, the roof over our head. She may have bought the Oros one too many. For me, it is that I see there could be so many of us if women in this country were to be freed by making decisions. We are going to do this here because car manufacture MESELA by 100, and hopefully maybe they all don't talk too much. But we can get somewhere. But what my mother also, some of the things when re gola, koko mmela ga mma kuku sinki. Ntja go disha bana ba bo sesiage. Okay. So that thing ya go thusha, it has always been there. And my default is to help somebody else.
Got you.
Ne le ge le gore nna ke shala ke sena selo. And hence mmereko wa ka gives me meaning. Ke tsoga every day ge ke tseba gore mmereko o dileng mamotla somebody o tlo robala a jele ha ke lo rabosana jwang. And ke nagana gore batho ba bangwe ke dingaka ka ntle ba bangwe ke eng nna ke nagana mmereko o go diang ke mmereko ke fileng ke badimo.
Yes.
And I take it very seriously, and hence ke lwela gore gena batho ba bereke because ke a tseba gore setšhaba se se berekang se tswela pele.
Tell me about the leadership qualities from a setup like the one you were raised in.
Yeah.
I was raised by a single mom myself, and I'm quite conscious of women who lead a family and the roles that they play and their ability to produce fairly decent products. So tell me, in your situation, what happened? What qualities did you inherit or maybe learn by observing?
I think it's learned by observing. No, we don't give up. Yeah. You can send me to go and get the moon. I'll go and I'll bring it back. How, I don't know. The people that I have interacted with in my life would say, "Oh, no problem. We're going to sort it out."
Yeah.
And mudimu being mudimu always, without fail. But today, I'm actually binding him, not me. But we have that. I can do it, I don't give up type of, if I get defeated today, tomorrow I wake up. So I come from that environment, and I feel, and that's my mother Lukoko as well. It's always about the greater good of a society, not necessarily nafel. That's why re bona re apeile half ya kgogo re ka tsholela batho ba bateti. It's who we are. And on the journey ya localization is exactly that one small decision affects setšhaba.
Absolutely.
You can feed a nation and give them their dignity. Lelapa leo is determined by certain decisions that we take as a society. Whether ke capitalism or ke socialism or ke eng, batho ke batho, guys. A re feng batho mebereko, le ge re ba ishitse sekolong under NSFASA, they must have hope or not today, I'm saying to our leaders, we must manufacture locally. That manufacturing locally, it means that bana ba rena will have hope. I feel strongly about black men. I don't want to be a woman that is comfortable in a world that says states there are more girls studying than boys. We should not allow that. Those are not numbers to be celebrated. I will make sure Ngwana has a place in society and building that society for him.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that there is no place for my daughter. My daughter, she knows that she has a place. But we must never diminish the role of men in our society. It will be easy to criticize. I stand firm, particularly with black men. And it's important that we address that most of our brothers feel that they don't have a voice. They can't say things anymore because they will be attacked, patriarchy and everything. We throw many things at them. These are men that we call out to for help. These are men that ke bo malome, ke bo butiarena. Aguna doti ya bo butiarena. Aguna doti ya bana ba rena ba bashimane. And it was also an appeal to other black women. You have sons. You create a world that you want for your son.
Do you know that as a default, I realize that the older I get, that men, when they are confronted, particularly by female energy in a way that is hard and harsh, we default to silence. It's easier. In households where the man agrees with everything, whatever you want, don't you worry. It becomes a default choice. I realize this the older I get. Or sometimes, that becomes the approach.
Well, let's say, David, Mama, are you? And I'm sure your mother would not like to see you like that.
Of course.
Okay. Now, and look at my son through that lens.
You wouldn't like that.
Would I like that?
Of course not.
Okay. So kana kongwe let's remove this man that you hate. Place your son. Place your the picture of your son.
Yes.
These men are important to us.
Yeah.
Okay. Na papa tlhokofetse gale, I would have been daddy's girl. And let's not take that away from men. They are important. They are loved. They are important to Bana ba rena. And I am forever jealous ka my daughter because wa lebala gore go fitlile nna pele before yena fitlhe because yena and my husband,
They have a thing.
They have a thing. We must not take that away from our kids.
Yeah. Very important, eh?
We must not take away. If there are people that do wrong things, I go back. Batu ke batu. There's people can put titles, socialist, capitalist, whatever. At the end of the day, nama limati.
That's true. Take me back to Seshego and even Kwatema, where an experience that demonstrated this resilience amongst your grandma or even your mom, an experience, a story that you say, I remembered this, and that was nothing else but resilience that came through, or just the ability to keep going.
It's difficult to say,
yeah.
But one of my most memorable moments in high school, Salor organized a strike.
Yo. Saying,
No, kuna teacher rona sa class.
Okay. Kenya Street.
Yes. Una teacher rona sa class and we organized strike. No, actually we don't want her from our class anymore because we felt that we were being cheated. Mm-hmm. And so that was like first more to say, you take a leader position without you being. It's not intention. Leadership is just.
That's there it is.
You step.
The circumstances call for it.
You come on the balcony,
yes.
And then I went to Valtech, and at Valtech, one of the years, Mama, she was retrenched. Hagili Valtech, then nokunali ba ko skolong ne. Barekisa di 340. And I saw her know there's a market, yeah. Mm-hmm. So there's a friend of mine, I will send them koshavas.
Okay.
So nekili madlami, nikirekisa you know. So I come from a family that always made a plan.
Yeah.
So I can Romano Korea Ethiopia.
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
I don't know, feature. So I come from that environment. So gigen skolo ko Tema. I still go to Tema, Spioyo, last town. And I when I'm in my element,
You've been fighting clearly for rights of certain sectors for a while. Even your fellow students fighting for a teacher to come to class.
I didn't look at it that way.
Well, you have, because there's a phrase that I found where it says, it's you. If it quotes you out of context, correct us. I didn't come to participate. I came to change the game. What did you mean by that?
I think when you cannot change things that are not good for the better, what is the point?
And you have this big title.
Title. It is the hunger to change things that is more important, because that will get you anywhere, not titles. It is the and it comes from there. So I have a very strong sense of justice, and I think it's informed by my cognitive makeup. I'm neurodivergent. I think in color, and I feel very deeply. So when you do something wrong that will cause severe damage to a population, it feels very personal. So I think it comes from there. Empathy ke dilo tjaka ke gile ka di bucket.
when you fight and justice is at the heart of your personality, you come across all sorts of dodgy characters. Surely, in your pursuit for localization, a pursuit for empowering of everyone in society, you come across challenges. Can you describe some of them?
You do. More especially when you mean well for other people, when you want something better for other people. Some people will say that, no, this person can open that door for me. And then afterwards they go and do something else. But you let them. You know, I say, I answer to Mudimu and not them. If I had to do that on that particular day, if it was my duty as to be an angel on somebody's path that day, the rest is none of my business. It's between Yena and Mudimu. So you'll meet those people. It will be upsetting when people take advantage of what you can assist with, but Kausan is default to help people again. You know, so you this is who you are.
Yeah.
And if people do that, so be it. Otherwise, yeah.
And growing up in a fatherless home, that's the sense I get. What character did that build?
Fatherless. Have you met Florence?
No.
She embodies both. So you knew that it was not there, but
didn't quite.
Yeah.
You know, the hole wasn't, or the void wasn't so big.
So I can tell you, I can point to a few instances in my life where I had a genuine need to have my father, right? When I passed my matric, it's one of those things that I felt, hey, when I got married, or when when I have like serious problems, I would wish papa alone, you know. But most of the time, matloriki boss.
She held it.
And I think that if I fail to be half of what she is, I would have failed her.
How far have you gone in being who she has achieved? If you had to score yourself,
maybe 2
out of
100.
You are far. We don't even count you in the race.
She was, you know, the her being bold, you know, she was one of those women, you know, who driver, you know, a driver at Petersburg at the time of driver's license. Look at his sleep is a dry clean, so she used to carry that. And I mean, and I don't think that those are decisions that she took intentionally. It was, there's the situation, I deal with it. And
circumstances.
And most South Africans are like that. That, okay, this is what I'm faced with. That door, now I'm going to cross to the other side. Yeah. And but how did we get here? Na papa tlhokofetse gale, guys. I cannot find politically connected. If I get myself through there, if it's not open, I'll wait until they open. And it's
but Lore, she's still there.
Yeah, it's Kingan. Minister Pakstow. Are MESELA ke o wa tla gape mo feng try batlang mo feng localization. But one thing about the David, you know, kind of what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Okay. If Udo did something that is going to damage, cause problems for the majority of the people,
a township upbringing, Kwatema. When did you get there from Seshego?
So Ritsology Tema. And then
it's the other way.
Ritsology Tema, Reveria Kukumela Marja, religious zone 3. It's in zone 1, Kamasakani. Zone 3, Atenas primary school, CM Stapel. Wamopela Mistress I can Nelis Rue mo TV.
Oh, yes.
She was my teacher.
Really?
Yeah.
So when I know Monaga need.
Yeah, she was my teacher.
Wow.
And I come from there, and then Utlatema. Then we finished off school go Tem. And then high school we went to Pulong, and then went on and yeah.
And you spoke of Valtech.
Yeah.
What did you study?
I did marketing. At Valtech. I did marketing at Valtech. And then when I finished Valtech, I then started. I didn't tell you what my first job was.
Oh.
My very first job, there was no one working Kokai. And I was a security guard.
Never.
I promise you.
How old were you? And
I can 25. I stopped counting me at 25. It's none of my business.
Okay. It's none of our business.
My very first job was a security guard.
Never.
Because what had to be done had to be done. And then I worked for a company in Niger. My boss was Marcello Grassini. He taught me a lot of things. I worked there. I wore overalls. I worked in a galvanizing factory.
Wow.
And to be where I am. But here's the thing that I have plotted throughout my life. I have never worked more miracle where I went for an interview.
Why is that?
I believe what a miracle ki mpho e tswang go badimo. Miracle good, and hence miracle good yang really important. And I believe gore hohle mo ke tsamaileng gona modimo o nromela batho ntse gore ba thushiwe. With the intent jaka, I had noted gore ba bantši ba bona ke ditšhiwana.
Yes.
And so I take that job very seriously. So yes, localization, everything else, but there are certain things within a Merrikwaka that are very spiritual. And I don't think next person will understand them.
So your understanding of the rail industry is quite deep.
Yeah, it is. It's I've seen things. The rail industry is political. What you see in the headline, it's not necessarily the story.
Okay.
There is a competition of resources. Competition of positions, and it is important that anyone, when we hear a headline that is related to do with the railways, apply yourself a little bit more, because people are fighting for resources, and we have serious corruption, but I think in our sector we have weaponized the word corruption.
Okay, how is that?
It's easy to accuse anyone of corruption and not prove it and get away with it.
It ends at the accusation.
It ends there.
Yeah.
And there are executives that have paid a big price, others with their lives, others with their careers, because they stood for something that was right. So my view is that those that work for government, they should consider themselves being a participant in an extreme sport.
Extreme sport.
And those that are in government and those that have worked for government, they would agree. And I've been asked if I will ever work for government, and I would say, I think batlang over the next day. Because it takes a certain person that has patience for some of the things that takes place in our government institutions to be able to listen to some of the things that are being done, but you still continue staying there to say that, maybe I am the one that is supposed to
fix this.
Yeah. I know of a gentleman, Khatatso Tlhakudi.
Okay.
Today, SAA Khayetsa profit. No one remembers his name.
Are you saying he sacrificed?
When there was that deal at SAA, That's when he was fired because he was causing so much trouble. I mean, I think it's well documented.
Yes.
We need to honor our real heroes.
Yes.
Find them and honor them. Those that made our different institutions work. You know, I've heard David Hore, Transnet never asked for money. Hey, Transnet never asked for money. He said, no, actually, the Reserve Bank governor used to come and see Transnet. Transnet actually used to bail out some of the state-owned entities.
Yes.
Right. So we need to understand and separate corruption is weaponized and strip that away and say, okay, when this type of people that were here, this is what was different. And how did they get there? Take out the politics.
What is the state of our rail industry now? The perspective of an ordinary South African, you catch a train, you get where you're going, you get off, and life carries on. There's been an introduction of new trains. That's as far as we interact with it. And we have a conceptual idea that goods travel from the coast to where they end up with us. And the train plays an important role in that. But that's as far as it goes. What is, from a perspective of someone that understands this world a little more better than us as average people, what is the state of our rail industry?
I want us to look at the railway sector not as consumers, but as builders of railways. And we need to position ourselves there.
Okay. We are wearing that hat.
Yes. Overall, the safety boots. Your steel comes from the factory. Somebody needs to work that steel, turn that into a raw material, into a final product. This is where we need to place ourselves. There are engineers, there are your electrical engineers from building of the train themselves. And then we have the hard infrastructure. We call it a pairway. So it turns out it's a permanent way.
Okay.
Okay. So your civil engineers will work in that environment. There's a lot of innovation that takes place. This doesn't work. Maybe we can improve it like that. So there's a lot of innovation that takes place in that. So that is from the hard infrastructure. Then we have signaling, that is another sector on its own. Then on the electrical side, you have your overhead track equipment. The building of the equipment is the manufacture of the installation of the equipment. So each time you think rail, don't place yourself inside a track.
As a consumer.
Place yourself for I want to point to that thing for manufacture. So we must find our names in the things that we produce.
Got you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it does not end there. Then there's the education side.
Yes.
So this is where the beautiful Mapifo, that she is leading the Transport Education Training Authority. They invest money into institutions to make sure they get trained. Mapifo, I need to make sure there is an industry on the other side. So there is a whole value chain of South Africans trying to deliver something. It's a relay. So I want South Africans, change your thinking. You are not a consumer. You are a maker. You have the power to build a South Africa that you want and Africa that you want. And you need to make that choice. Stop asking for opportunities. Take up those opportunities. The future of South Africa, whether by it's socialism or whatever, we must tell ourselves like it's and a bush punyaka or samaroberek. Arnyako few dish. Barring mpempela pisha moto khonake.
Libiano mpempela pisha.
Sarao.
Tlalantso khopela. Utlane.
Motho le motho o nyaka go iperekela gore a phele bophelo bo betere le ba lelapa la gagwe.
Yeah. As we sit today, Because we started with talking about manufacturing as a troubled space. As we sit today, do you have a sense of numbers, if numbers is what matters, that are employed by the rail industry? And I realize numbers can be quite daunting as a question, but do you get a sense of the number of people that South African Railway, and if it does, which parts of the country do we have a lot of those?
Look, I think in terms of numbers, Transnet would still have a fair number, over 50,000, and I think we come from 70,000. And because of the policies of government, everyone that is in the railway is always supplied through Transnet and RASA.
Yes.
So you have a domino effect. If government spends less, that means the industry itself is going to, disappear.
To struggle. Yes.
So the numbers vary, but I can give you the following. The company Alstom, they had recently they were going to retrench about 500 people, and during this stage we're talking about a rail reform, and because of demanding localization. And having work leaders take one of our board members, actually, they had placed an order the Alstom. Then that means those 450 jobs are protected.
Okay.
And those 450 jobs that are protected are NUMSA members.
Okay.
And the unions also they need to play their very important place in making sure that we manufacture. And further to that, when we did look at the numbers again, is that small order on its own, it's not only 400, but 1,200 people in the value chain to manufacture the order for the company. And for me, it's not the number that is there of people, but it's the impact. If 450 becomes 1,200, 1,200 becomes more, and that more actually it means that I don't have, if another order comes through, I don't have to restart. I already have capacity.
Yes.
So my challenge now is to make sure that I feed that thing.
Yeah.
And to feed that thing, it will require significant support from society, all of us. That when we make decisions that we are going to spend money on railways, that money must be spent locally first. When we have a Development Bank of South Africa that funds the project, DBSA must get a mandate that you are a development bank, your mandate is X, develop South Africa, you will manufacture, you will fund projects that increase African content on African projects.
That's it, yeah.
Same thing as IDC, same thing as a PIC. It will be wrong for us to accept that our money as South Africa, in a form of money available from these development institutions, we then take that money and create jobs elsewhere.
What has been happening?
We have not been paying attention really to that, but we must be strict about that.
Have we bought trains elsewhere recently?
We have bought trains.
Fully manufactured?
Not really, not fully manufactured. But you must make a decision that you're going to empower and build your country or not.
So are you correct in saying that we have had slip-ups over the past few years?
We have had slip-ups, and those slip-ups are not... sometimes when we talk slip-ups as government, it's not government. It's us.
Us? Who are us in this picture?
Us. People that work in the railway sector, people that do business in the railway sector, people that now get contract in the railway sector. It is the same people that did not have hope 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and we then worked hard to have this rail reform. Now, when they get to be the beneficiaries of that rail reform, they don't want to empower others. But I have again raised my hand to say, I have worked for rail reform this year. I will deliver localization. And anyone that does not, in my view, if Nekili president, I think it's unjust for people wanting to benefit from a policy and taking away from the people of this country. And prosperity, everyone deserves to prosper in life.
True.
And if we don't build ourselves as South Africa to lead the continent, remember it's not about us. There's an entire continent that must be integrated. Who's going to do that? So our responsibility is larger than just a one order. So we need to demand better of ourselves as leaders, including me.
Yes.
We need to demand better that we do not keep quiet. Even if we get into trouble, we remain true to the cause, because the Northern Star are the people of this country. That is a non-negotiable. If I get into trouble, then let me get into trouble. But one thing the industry will tell you is that when it comes to localization, it's a non-negotiable, because there's so much more to lose.
You speak of rail reform as a social contract. What are some of the obligations of rail reform? What, if it was perfectly executed and it's a long term, not the 3-year, the guy who got something and NHLAPO, what is the obligation of rail reform in practice? Why
do we have railways? Railways are part of logistics. In logistics, they say logistics are the backbone of an economy. So you're running an economy at the back of this thing that is railways. You transport, you build. And out of that, this is where the benefits are coming from. And the social compact then comes from the National Railway Policy as it is today. That's certain fundamental things: localization, transformation, and integrating South Africa. If those things are not done, why do we have it? If each and every contract that we enter into, whether it's concession or anything else, and the state still owns the infrastructure, that infrastructure must benefit the people of this country. It cannot be, no, fine, but we cannot do it here because it's not possible here. Remember, Utin is allowed to be in that power because the people gave you that power. You now have the power to take care of us. And it's a simple call to say that let's get into the habit of implementing our own policies.
Are we making progress?
We're making progress, but the implementation of policies is not a responsibility of one person or two people. If people want to have policies work, they better make sure that those policies work for them. They need to demand better. They need to say that, government, you have trained me. You've taken me to vet. You've paid for my engineering course. Here I am. Yeah. What am I supposed to do now? Because when we do rail policy, it was supposed to resolve exactly those problems. If it does not resolve those problems, then it's a problem. Is it working in other spaces? Yes, it's working in other spaces. One of the companies that actually just invested 3.4 billion rands into infrastructure. They live next to somewhere, Roslyn is
Garankuwa.
Yeah. So there's a company there that recently made that investment. When they recruit, well, cancel the CV.
Okay.
All right.
Ooh.
So
that can get complicated.
No, they don't play games. They finally have it right.
Okay.
Right? Because it's clean. We want to have 1, 2, 3. If you don't have it, it's paper and that's it. And it has worked well.
Yeah.
So the company as a school, they are now doing more work on the continent. They actually operate in 10 countries on the continent. Those are the type of people to say that when we do a rail reform, these are the type of changes that we're going to see. Now we need to be exporting. But we need to now to start thinking differently around how do we really empower this company that is already manufacturing. Instead of moving everybody into an SEZ, we now need to say maybe we should have single factory SEZ. To say, when actually you're sorting us out, you're employing our people from here, we've taken them to school, you are part of us. That's what Ubuntu is. So we're going to make things better for you to do business. So let's turn your factory into an SEZ. So that maybe you pay less. So we need to start thinking creatively. It's like,
we're not right now.
No, let's not spend that money. Let's turn this thing into an SEZ. As a matter of fact, those old industrial areas, let's tell people all those are SEZ. Let's go back into manufacturing. You'll actually be rewarded. Guys, if SARS guys, you pay 5% less company tax if you were to manufacture local. To get companies to manufacture local, you must speak their language, and their language is the bottom line.
That's it. You speak of moving with speed. Well, trains don't always move with speed, but you speak of moving with speed. But reform, by its nature, is not something that is done very quickly. It takes time because it has so many parts, and it has those that don't want it and that are likely to slow it down. So how are you able to implement pace in an environment where reform by itself is very slow?
I think we live in a society where you learn a lot when you listen to other people, because sometimes you look at things from your direction only. But when we do the road shows to consult people, you get to hear different perspectives. And I think that the public consultation that takes place, it's helpful. However, I would like to see more of a pushback from our people, because I can come with a policy and think that I propose it, it's right. But when I don't live in a certain area and get to view things from other communities' point of view, I miss out. And I think that we need to participate greater into the reforms that are taking place, and maybe even government to, when they do the public consultation, must be meaningful. I think that there are a few court cases that define what a proper public consultation is, because it's to hear the people and how it affects them, and to make sure that when we have a policy, we have defined clearly that what are we solving for and how we're going to do it, ensure that we are able to deliver a solution that is end-to-end and that is linked to the Constitution. If anything that we do in terms of policy does not solve for Section 2 of the Constitution,
dignity,
we shouldn't do it.
Your point is very clear, but I'm curious to know, if reform fails, what is the scenario? And also, in that same question, I'm curious to know, how would you score our reform on a scale of 1 to 10 as we sit today in 2026? Are we on a 5, are we on a 7, or are we on a 2? How far are we?
So with the reform, we know that there is 11 new operators that have been awarded slots, and I think they're still negotiating the contracts. And
these are clean reform participants, because it's possible there's a hand that doesn't belong.
You never know.
I guess.
You never know, because I can't say for real, right? But
yes. But it looks a certain way
from where I am sitting from,
yes.
Right? And I've not heard anything like anti industry.
So far, nothing has come your way.
Nothing. Yeah. So there's a lot that is taking place where there is maybe not clarity is around that this opportunity then brings investment.
Okay.
What this investment looks like, where the money comes from, because whoever has the most money wins.
Of course.
And we're solving for the one thing that the policy has identified as a problem. Are we going to solve it with the way that we're doing it now? Mm-hmm. And that is going to require everybody's involvement, not just me. See yourself not as a consumer, guys. See yourself as a maker. When you see yourself as a maker, you'll understand why you need to be part of the process. Mm-hmm. When you are part of the process, you'll be able to spot an opportunity. If you're not in it, forget it.
We get obsessed with the phrase foreign direct investment. It's a reality of our lives. We are told over and over and over again that we need to be attractive to foreign direct investors. We have to have all of these things that work for them. When you describe localization, at its core, it almost questions foreign direct investment. Or at least it says, pause for a second. How much are you doing for your own people? Why should money go out instead of staying? Or maybe I don't see it correctly. Help me along the way.
I think
okay.
The pension fund. I would say the pension fund are never the investor guy.
Like PIC.
It could be PIC, it could be anyone.
Yeah. It
right?
could be any company.
It could be any company. Yes. I've heard a story where certain state-owned entity, they've got their own pension fund. The administrators of that pension fund by invest in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay, it may make sense, but here's an opportunity locally that is a significant opportunity. Now you ask our leaders or those that lead labor to say, where's your money? Where is it going? Which country is it building? Don't you think your money should come and actually, so that when you work, you're actually multiplying your own pension fund? Mm-hmm. So we need to start asking questions. Where's my money? Where is being invested? One. And actually, who's running it? And the foreign direct investment, let me put it this way, God doesn't make land anymore.
He's made all the land that he could. Yes.
So when you have a piece of land that you can bargain with, even if you don't have money, you have the power. If they're not happy, they can go elsewhere. Others will come.
70% of it doesn't belong to people with a skin color that looks like mine and yours.
And significant percentage of workers in South Africa are people like us. Mm-hmm. Remove the consumer mentality and see yourself as a maker. If we were to put our money together towards something as Black people, nothing will stop us. We just need to change our thinking, not to question MESELA
it's too big for her. Where does she get it?
It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. What we must all pursue for is an African continent that its economic development must rely on the potential offered by Africans, particularly its women and youth. And our African Union ambitions says that Africa must fund her own development. It then says to us, we have the resources. We may not have the resources in the way that we are used to transacting, but resources could be converted into anything. How do we use what we have to our advantage?
Yeah.
If I have a piece of land and there could be a data center, I'm just going to value that with few cents or I'm going to attach real value to it. So it goes back to we need to start thinking differently.
Yeah. Describe for a second, and I know how my viewers watch these things. They will say she didn't answer a certain question. I asked, and I asked in terms of social reform, how far are we? Is there enough commitment amongst the role players to get it done? What challenges do you face on a daily basis as CEO of an organization that has to ensure that such things happen?
I am worried the implementation local content.
Okay.
Gravely worried. And because whilst DTI is with me, I am not sure if other departments, we are on the same page.
Okay.
Because I know DTI localization designation policy, they're very supportive. But the contract, I'm not sure whether they sufficiently protect that industrialization that we want to see. And as far as I am aware, and one of the reasons that we're having this conversation, and perhaps it's a call out for help to say that pele dilo di senyega or ba re MESELA aso bulele. I'm using this opportunity to say, a ke se sure. Yeah. Because re ka bolela gore rona le project A, mara ge e le gore go sasa re tlolla. I have a responsibility towards the people of this country to say, yeah, wa loka re kgonne save 450 mole, but nka se di tshepishe gore it's sustainable. And I expect government arena to keep their word that this rail reform is based on this and the founding document, a relocalization, to keep their promises. And I think the leaders, they get busy with other things. It's important, and I suppose having this conversation, I'm having a conversation on behalf of the possible hope that the future that is possible for South Africa. And I ke tshepe gore ka nako nngwe government ya kwishisha gore how the railways are interconnected. State-owned entities, they implement government policies, they're implementers. And rail or we're gonna be serious on transformation, BBE, and your implementing agent being Transnet. And
what are you saying?
So what that means is that when as government, remember you have obligations that stems from the Constitution on transformation and many other things. So that obligation, you're still holding it, but you're actually saying to an implementing partner, so government will not be able to deliver on their mandate.
But by their own doing.
Yes.
Yes.
And I can. But what I'm saying, and we need to talk.
I want us to simplify it and use a hypothetical scenario. So we don't point a finger at anyone. And say an ideal social, not even so social is an obvious byproduct, a transformation of the rail industry. If it was perfectly implemented, it would look like this. It would start with government wanting a train or trains and then it would lead to local manufacture and so forth and so forth. You understand it better than me. Help me with that scenario.
It starts with making a decision. This is what we want. We want to have a train.
Or trains.
Yes. Then what was previously done, we'll have a union carriage.
Okay.
We will build our own trains, we'll build our own railways. We even go further to not only use railways for normal goods, but we then intertwine it into our food security, into our military services. Yes. So it becomes something that is become part of who we are from an economic perspective. So that is on the planning side. So you're going to have maize that you will then store in silos. Those silos will have railway tracks on them so that you are able to transport them from point A to point B.
Done.
Then see yourself through that, in that manufacturing. And then over and above that, you make sure that when you manufacture, you start building a pipeline of your future engineers, your future railroaders. It becomes a byproduct. And then when you truly transform it, MESELA is no longer an employee, but MESELA has become so empowered that MESELA starts her own business. And the impact then is larger. So a truly transformed railway industry in my world is one that would have at least 70% localization content. So that we only import things that we cannot make.
However, we should be working on trying to be able to make them.
We can't have everything.
Okay.
We can't have everything.
Yeah.
However, those that we can manufacture, in my perfect world, is that 60-70% localization. But localization does not end there at the 60-70%. What innovation does, it then feeds into your other sectors, military, you name it. Your Roy Falk did not just come out of nowhere.
Of course, yes.
It came because there was a decision that this is the journey that we're walking, and your Roy Falk became a byproduct of that innovation.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a localization is that one thing that unlocks everything else, that will then turn the country into a manufacturing hub for the continent.
Where's the bottleneck? We must be stuck somewhere.
I think we are stuck because we are not involving ourselves.
We are spectators in our own story.
We are spectators, and I refuse to be one. And the decision that I've made early on in my life,
it'll get you in trouble, eh?
It has gotten me into trouble. It has gotten me into trouble.
As it would. That's what happens.
No. It has gotten
my comrade.
It was not my comrade.
Okay.
Yeah. A certain board member said to me, to my face, we thought, let's kill her. We thought, let's destroy her career.
That's big.
That's big. A certain somebody, it was regard to something Goprasa, somebody complained. Then they sent an internal forensic investigator to my office. And spent about 3 hours or even more with me. Even today, I still demand to have the minutes of those meetings. So it gets me into trouble.
Yeah.
But this is what I do. I don't tolerate, or at least people should not be comfortable with the fact that wrong things will continue in my presence. And that has resulted in the following. I have been removed from certain tables because they know that this one is going to talk too much. But I'm happy not to be at those tables, because then I I know that what I stand for can need.
So there are those who are resisting reform.
Not necessarily resisting reform, but how this reform will play out like.
Okay.
So when you change the rules from having a monopoly to having other parties in, you still need to control the rules.
Kuzongena bubadla.
Do you understand? And how?
Yes.
Remember that monopoly. As an association, no, we want to have a strong Transnet. Transnet is the DNA of this industry. But then how we contract after, the terms and conditions that goes into those contracts, there is where we should be concerned to say that what the rail policy promised me, is it going to deliver it, including localization, including transformation. You can't have a situation where rules are going to be made to say, no, for rail reform, we are not going to have BE. Do you think we're not developed? Do you think with Ampia Tafuling, or when you think MESELA will agree with it? It's not going to happen.
Of course not, yeah.
So sometimes we get removed to certain places because they know that this, and if we find out, I will not keep quiet.
And so far, you've been vocal today. There are people who would not have this conversation, or at least would not speak as openly as you are. And that's just the reality of it. Remember, you still have kids to feed and a family to look after.
David, I don't know. It's you know, when you do these things, it's not intentional. It's not conscious. It's automatic. And that's how I step into this thing on a daily basis. For now, you know,
You'll do it elsewhere.
I'll definitely do it elsewhere. But Biliaka is with the African people.
Yeah.
If something I read wrong does not benefit us guys, and we find one of us agreeing with that, we should be disappointed with each other.
Is there a misunderstanding of, or maybe a lack of knowledge of your organization?
We not necessarily lack of knowledge. I think the rail sector itself is a niche market.
Okay.
So we would, the people within the sector would know us. And the type of work that we do is more on the impact. The rail policy, we were there when it was being done. We participate. I sit on NEDLEC on to some of the policies, and sometimes people will insist that I come because they know that there's something that needs to be seen, that should be attended to. And so I have become, as an organization, we have become a defender of society and societal values where South Africans are concerned. And we go on promote South African companies on the international stage. We hope that this year, with the support of government, we'll go to the biggest rail show in the world, which is every second year in Berlin at InnoTrans. And we need to discover that about us and go out there and sell stuff to the world. We traveled with Transnet to Spain in December. Everybody wanted to speak to Transnet. So
why is that? Why is there attraction?
Because Transnet is highly respected. And as a matter of fact, if you are somebody from anywhere else in the world, you want to sell anyone on the continent something, the first question they will ask you is that, does Transnet use that?
Wow, because they use it as a benchmark.
Yes. So, like I said, we speak a lot. Railways is political. There are lots of things that have been said. Park that on the side. South Africa still has a major role to play on the continent when it comes to railways. Anything else is noise.
The Chinese are a big player in rail, and particularly in Africa. Or am I correct in making that observation?
You are correct. And my concern about that is that when I do FDI, I come with my own rules. Anyway, we have had it with the last contract for the one big contract for Transnet. Those drawings came in Chinese.
Oh. So basically you'll figure it out, or you'll hire an interpreter.
And you go into a meeting, they speak Chinese, and there's somebody that is interpreting there. And ke sekoloto sa Mark David.
So how?
That's what's West China ka sekoloto sak.
Maybe Panyaza is right to say that we need to learn Chinese in our classrooms.
No ways. I'd rather learn Swahili.
Yes.
Right. But I don't think that our leaders do these things intentionally. It's just that we don't talk to each other to say that, hold on, when you're going to make this decision, you must be aware of 1, 2, 3. Mm-hmm. So let's say that whether China or whoever, they come and invest in South Africa, they bring money for this investment. Those people were batali the equipment. They bring the people. They even bring food for those people. Now, mama tswa ka o dutsimola go khoneng o rekisa di apple. Ona le sekoloto, but she's not benefiting anything from it. Okay. So when these things are concluded, we just see a deal. But I think that many more of us should be there to scrutinize what is being signed.
Yeah.
And we felt I need to do the following, David. Many of our state-owned entities are not doing well. If these state-owned entities were normal companies, the directors would have been held accountable. And as a country, we need to ask ourselves the following. How many people have been on these boards, on all the state-owned entities that have not done well, and where they are, and have they been held accountable? Not that corruption or anything, purely from a Companies Act point of view. Act in the best interest of the organization.
True.
If we were to hold all of them accountable and take them seriously to task, do you think there will be any other board member that will come and treat being a board member as a holiday?
Of course not. And they wouldn't be moving around from one SOE to another.
But these boards have become old age homes. That thing must come to an end.
Diplomatic post.
Must come to an end. There is many of us that are professionals that can go into those spaces, right? Because I'll make a decision, I will not comply with something ailing wrong. Or say, yes, my decision. If you're not happy, bye bye. So we need more of us making those decisions. Board members must be held accountable. Any state-owned entity that has not done well, we need to find those board members. They must tell us.
What happened?
Because,
or maybe no ways.
Yes, because the law says, the company's law, if you act in the best interest of the company. How's unkat contract? We lo cancel. Court dumelana le wena. Did you really act in the best interest of the organization, or when you wanted to be right? Because if contract is irregular, right, we will have to wait what is in the best interest. Okay, as irregular as it is, this contract, we can get an order from court to for 3 months so that the asset at least is protected. So how to the board members that do not appreciate their work that is informed by the Companies Act, and they make decisions that continue to impact the state-owned entities, then we need to start thinking differently.
What is an ideal financing framework for the rail industry?
And
should it be treated differently from other sectors?
Of course. Railways, energy, I think those are some of the two things that are strategic to a country. Those are things that you don't subcontract that.
Okay.
As a government. You need to fund that not in a form of it's a loan, I'm going to make money out of it, but is an investment into your economy, because you need that infrastructure to get other sections of the economy going.
And we're not doing that.
We're not doing that. If you can't give me cheap electricity, that means when I produce, I can't be competitive.
True.
If you can't give me cheaper logistics, that means I can't be competitive. And there is perhaps a misunderstanding when people say that, Transnet must be competitive. As railways, we don't talk about Transnet but being competitive. We talk about a railway logistics industry that is being competitive so that I can make a South African product competitive on the international market.
Got you.
So railways are politics. Railways are funded by the state. I don't know of any country where railways do not continue to play a role in politics. Mm-hmm. So they're always politically influenced, and those that make those decisions can decide what that type of country becomes. Private sector involvement is important, but government cannot subcontract its responsibilities to private sector.
What does a strong Transnet look like?
A strong Transnet is one where it's a home to grow, to innovate. It's a home that our young men and women, the new railroaders, get to learn how to run railways of the future. You get a real Transnet that is strong, the Transnet School of Rail that then trains for the continent. It's one that does not function from a balance sheet that says that we are going to make a profit. State-owned entities in their nature are not designed to make profits, but are designed to empower the economy. So we need to change our thinking around that. State-owned entities, the Transnet is an enabler of an industry.
And society.
Yeah. I'm one of the few people in the railway sector that has not gone through Transnet or PRASA. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Otherwise, most people were trained from Transnet. So that is your DNA of who you are as a railway sector in South Africa, and that must be preserved. You would find also somewhere that it gets written that this person used to work there, they're now working for that somebody.
Because it's a relatively small industry. I can go to power.
Yeah, but it's still in the same industry.
It is, that's exactly that.
Do you understand, Oscar? It's still in the same industry.
It's like soccer players, if you understand the concept.
Yeah, it's not like
netball.
So it's wrong to say, so therefore, it's incorrect. Mm-hmm. And what our government does not know is the harm that is done to black business, particularly black women-owned business. You would invest in a company because there is a policy. Mm-hmm. Government is a drum. Then your investment is compromised. Because there's no real enforcement of localization.
Yeah.
But it will be damaging when in a multinational that then invest in South Africa at the back of a policy. Then we're doing something else. So we are discounting our value as an investment destination. Policy certainty, it's a requirement.
Yes.
Not only for investment, but for the social contract that our leaders have with us. Yeah.
How are we doing? Because at the core of all you're saying is transformation. At the core of it is a better life for all. And your industry has its own teething issues. But you said with the biggest consumer of your product, not only being us as consumers, but as government, they're the biggest buyer of the product that you're selling. Are conversations easy and smooth? Because you said, when you call Ndate Paxi, well, he listens. But our conversation smooth all around, because in an environment like that, there'll always be those that are pulling in an opposite direction or misunderstand what you're trying to achieve.
The competing interests. The competing interests. When you find a leader such as Parks, you can talk to him. Get out.
Get out, yes.
Get out. Yeah. And they're accessible and they see it, right? It's better. However, you don't want to have a one Pax.
Okay. The system must be full of Paxes.
The system must be full of Pax down.
Got you.
Yeah. Okay? The system must be full of ayabonga kawe. The system must be full of those people to say whatever decision that we're going to take, even if we decide we're going to give money share or not, it will be informed by sustainability thinking.
Yes.
And it cuts across everywhere. Education. Guys, and until we hold that headline, we must hold each and every one of us accountable. Let me get that nonsense. You call me to order.
But our culture, man, an older man in the family does no wrong. Again, we know that, right? I want us to agree that we use different words to protect their dignity. And that's how we are, and that's how we've been. But with what you're saying is, if he doesn't deliver, he has to go. Imagine that meeting, Lebo Malome, and Malome was found wanting, and we have to address him. And you are a youngster in the room.
I think there was a time where people would be expelled from their families because they've embarrassed the family.
Yes.
I think we should use that lens.
An ideal scenario is they should just walk off all on their own and accept their embarrassment.
Yeah.
But surely that's not the case.
No. And it's not a grouping. Ne? As this organization compared to this, harutots.
Yes.
What embarrass ibili. You need to go. We no more. I mean,
easier said though. Hey? It should be easy to apply.
At least we should even start by saying it. Because just to think about it, most people are thinking about it. But maybe we should say it.
Yeah.
Maybe we should say that Ruchtol. Wavai. And the process commission. Guys, the people that are making money in this country are those that are holding people accountable because we have used that as a standard. The only tender that's already no.
Well, Bosasa was a leader in that regard. Let's not go there.
Yeah, but in any case, it's and I don't want us to look at this as political, right? Because it's not those that are in politics that do that. In the government departments,
yes,
right?
It's so easy.
Right.
Yes.
Guys, let's hold ourselves.
Officials. Yes.
When one of us is not doing well, let's hold each other accountable. Mar, the people of this country deserve better.
I want us to conclude, but go quickly to Africa. How are we doing in our Africa relations as an industry?
Railways are capital intensive, so you need to have a different way of negotiating, and I think that government needs to have a different thinking when it comes to investing on the continent. I know that the SADC region, they do send their staff to Transnet for training.
Okay.
But it should not end there. We can't live in a sea of poverty as South Africa. We need to make sure that we don't bring everything here to be done here. The same thing localization. Localization as a runa fair is for our brothers and sisters as well. And we have to share whether it is standards, the resources that we have, because you can't integrate the continent with different standards. We know, from electrical plug, it depends on who colonized you, you know which plug you have. So we need to make sure that when we integrate the continent, you harmonize everything. And we use any free tool legally available to empower or at least to unlock availability of funding. And it's those different ways of contracting that must be used. If we're just going to follow the old way of how other people are doing it, must change. One other thing that must change in terms of the funding framework, you can't have a DFI and use the same ruler that the banks uses.
Oh, it can be.
So
because the bank's ruler is very steep.
Exactly. Yeah. So the mandate of the bank and the mandate of you must see it in the application of how, when you apply for that funding. And it's important to have this conversation because we're going to have a transformation fund.
Okay.
The DTIC, they're busy working on that because most of us cannot go into business because we don't have funding and the banks are. So when it comes to that as well, the fat that comes with the PFMA, everybody must approve. That thing must go. Right? We must minimize it. Banks would approve your funding, say, 2-3 weeks. Now we got 12 months because there is. Okay. So those delays, Papa, they cost money.
Yes.
So when we go into this new thing, we must not just say, nake batla localization, but I want to have good skills as well.
Yeah.
And then I know that they're sufficiently trained, they can go and work and they can go into business, but I need to make sure there is money available to empower them. So even if it's not any deal that I enter into as a country, I got a deal that will compromise us later on. I must make sure it's a knowledge type of an agreement.
Where do we stand with standards, and whether it's academic standards, really just in terms of the level of our, whether they're artisans or even professionals in the rail sector? Because it's easy for one to say, bring all this, let's localize it, but yet our skill level is not up to scratch because we didn't keep up with the times, or we neglected it as a space.
Look, the training still takes place, but what we need to think about and change is the following. Business says that we don't have the skills. And instead of saying that business is just complaining, we need to engage them to say, what exactly do you mean the skills? Then we must talk to people like Ntate Padi Lehotla so that we run a skills demand and supply modeling and so that Harry trainer today, we know what we're training for.
True.
So we can't use training in 1980 and still continue training it.
Locomotive.
Yes.
And we apply it to now.
Yeah. The principles be more or less the same, but for innovation, we need to know where we are going so that we train for the future.
True.
So, and then you need to say that for TVET colleges, it will strictly be engineering and nothing else, because industry is saying that we don't have artisans. So it's just a matter of that to say we're going to invest and these are going to be our engineering. And I think also that we cannot abdicate our duties as a state to train and impose that on companies to do that training as well. We need to take that duty seriously, and maybe we need to reconstruct how all the parties come together, because business plans on its own, academia plans on their own. Most of them have never even run their own businesses, So, and labor. So we need to start planning jointly instead of separately. And I touched on TETA earlier on. I'm actually one of the beneficiaries the CETA.
Okay.
For a program called the International Executive Development Program for Women. We did it through GIPS, and we went on an international tour, an international learning journey as well. We were in Belgium, and you start seeing how other countries are doing things different. And I want to use that investment, like government, to come back to the country to say, we could do things this different, right? And it is a learning journey that I enjoyed because it was not about the test, but it was a complete mind shift. And if we can continue to have funding TETA, partnering with business schools such as GIPS, I think they're the best gift since, yeah.
Okay. I didn't study with them, but anyway, carry on.
Because how they teach. Because the person that left, the person that started that program at the beginning and the person now, completely different person.
Okay. Yeah.
And if education cannot give you that, a new person, then what is the point? But now that I understand and look at things differently through being empowered by TETA, which is government funding, I want to bring this back home to say, the money that has been spent on me, I'm not going to waste it. Here's my contribution. Yeah. And my contribution is having this conversation to say, I think that we could do this differently. I think we can do this differently because of the investment that has been made in me.
If we were to conclude this conversation now, and you feel there's an important thing that did not come across, what would that be? Or maybe it did, but maybe you want to clarify it.
Yeah, I'm saying takeaway, right? We owe it to the citizens of this country that all decisions that we make must benefit them in a good way for the current generation and generations to come. And we should not forget Utsizalwa Obani and how we got where we are. And take off the titles. Because once you take off title, remember who you are.
Yes.
And that keeps you grounded. Remember the people, and that will keep you grounded.
What matters so much for you about the rail industry?
It's potential to change the economy. How much it can quickly turn around things on a grand scale. It's that change. And there is also the sound of it. When there's steel on steel, there's something beautiful about that. That sound.
Yes, when it's coming.
People that have worked in the workshops, because coming from Niger, there's a certain smell of that oil that comes with that. There's a certain magic that comes with being in an engineering space, because it's not really 1 + 1 is 2, right? It says, okay, it doesn't work, but when we can try this one. So there's some excitement that comes with being in an environment that demands innovation out of you. And maybe the Burmaka plan, it came from the engineering sector, and maybe it came from the railway industry, because we had to make things work. And for me, it's the possibility of what the future could become, and the power that we possess as Africans to write our own history.
MESELA NHLAPO, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I think yours it falls in the group of conversations that are important And I hope they reach the correct ears. Because if we miss them, we will stay like this, and this is not good.
We don't stop. We continue.
Yeah. I wish you well.
Thank you, Papa.
You, for your small frame, you're carrying a lot. And I wonder how you pull it off. Oh, you're not alone. So many generations of those Wakhalabe.
A lot.
Yeah, many.
Yeah. Ke kgoshi kope.
Yes.
Ke kgoshi kope. Gae ke ka taflukopo.
Okay.
Re kgoshi Rammupudu antibeletse o tla re wena o wa bogoshing thwi.
Ah.
Ke re ke tao ya sekgwa sa metse ke mokwena.
Banna ba ire mogolokwana. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Papa.
Wow, I enjoyed that. Thank you so much.
King David Studio Podcast.